Welcome inside the campus Wellness and Recreation Center here at Durham College. We get you set for the Lords taking on the Huskies. What should be a fun night of volleyball. This is the game one of a doubleheader. Coming up next around 8 o'clock, depending on how this game goes, the men's teams will battle it out. But let's start here with the 5-2 Durham Lords, who fell to 9th in the OCAA rankings after a tough loss to Algonquin over the weekend. They're taking on the 0-7 Huskies. And John, they've really struggled this season, and this is a real opportunity for the Lords to jump back on the win bandwagon here at home.
Yeah, you took my first game note right off my page there. They're dropping from 5th to 9th. That's a huge drop for Durham. And they're definitely going to need a good bounce-back game here after having coming off the loss to get themselves back up in the standings. I mean, not doing so against George Brown, the last team in the entire OCAA, probably not going to get you very far, but it's a good stepping stone.
John Lodge, Joey Chapman with you. I forgot to mention that off the top, John. Apparently names are something that broadcasting school teaches you to do. But starting for the Lords, Sarah Raymond, Cassidy Nicholson-Clark, and Jessica Johansson, along with Jonica Babb, Allison Terwilliger, and Megan Romaine for the Huskies. Kristen Long, Audrey Chow, Olivia Weimer, Jane Laperchette, Julia Vitt, Jessica Blondin, and Nicole Poupart are the starters for the visiting Huskies.
Nicole Vandenheuvel will be the libero for Durham, and Melissa Lenga is the libero for George Brown.
Come on in and stay a while, folks. That is the first serve, and that ball goes over the net, and a bit of a battle there, but gets back away, and that hit ball goes off the hands of Allison Terwilliger and goes out. Allison Terwilliger been so good all season long, John. A bit of a mistake there by her, but we're sure we'll see her rebound.
Yeah, she's second on the team in kills with 47, Joey, so very integral to this team is Terwilliger. Yeah, I'm sure that we'll see her get going here soon. Yeah. Sent long there, though, by Jessica Johansson, the team leader in kills, as well as service attempts and digs. So another big part of the Lords' offense that's going to need to get going quick.
The second-year player, Jessica Johansson, has been so integral to this team. John, you mentioned it. She leads on attack. Last year as a rookie, she was one of a few rookies who got regular playing time, and she performed excellently. And this season, she's started right where she left off. And that's the second point of the game for the Lords, as that was Johansson who got that ball over the net.
The second error on George Brown already. First one, an unforced error into the net, and that one just a misplay by looks like Audrey Chow.
Interesting that Jonica Babb draws into the starting lineup, John, for the Lords. We haven't seen her start any of these games at home, and we'll have to keep our eye out on number 9. She's been good off the bench all season long, but we really haven't seen her in the starting lineup. Coach Clark making some changes here at home as that ball is sent over the net. Romaine sends a long set up, and that hits the back line. A very nice play there by Allison Terwilliger to hit that ball right on the back line on a very high set from Romaine. And just like that, we're tied at 3s. It's going to be Sarah Raymond on serve for the Lords. Raymond sends that ball over. Sorry, Johnny.
I think, as two George Brown players run right into each other face first, another miscommunication there. I think the changes are made because we're seeing Nicole Vandenheuvel at libero instead of Devin Fraser, who is our normal libero, so you have to make some other changes to accompany that.
It's true. Vandenheuvel, a player who's come off the bench a lot for the Lords. You see Coach Clark using her in serving specialty situations. Not the biggest player, but she's got a cannon from beyond the line, and she's involved on that play there. And John, after losing the first 2 points of this game, the Lords have rallied back to give themselves a 5-3 lead, looking to force the Huskies to taking in their first time out. It's a nice dig there by the libero for the Huskies was Lingat. Lords trying to bring this back over as that ball is just touched over by Johansson. Hard serve there, block. Romaine sends it back. Romaine gets it again. And the Lords find a way to get it back over the net. And that was a misplay there.
Vandenheuvel just dives and misses that dig. that may have gone long, but I think on the same track as Vanden Heuvel, I think that was going to land in, so you got to try and make an attempt at a dig there.
Yeah, from up here, it certainly looked like it had a real opportunity to land inbounds. Can't blame Vanden Heuvel for that as she laid out trying to get her hands on that ball. Has a hard block there in front as Terwilliger tried to get that ball over, and the Lords are back on it. Romaine sets it over for Bab. Back the other way as that ball is going to fall. And a nice touch there by Julia Vitt, the fifth-year Ajax, Ontario native, the veteran of this Huskies team, finds the back left corner of the court, and this game's tied at 5.
Yeah, they caught Raymond out of position there. She was more to the center part of the court, and they had the corner wide open, and they utilized it.
Bab takes a nice play there to pull that ball off the net. Vanden Heuvel sets it for Romaine. Romaine to Terwilliger, and Terwilliger sets a hard one over. But the Huskies find a way to get it back over. Here is Bab, just a one-touch. Once again, the Lords, a bit of a mistouch there, but that's Julia Vitt again for the Huskies on back-to-back points, and a nice little rally there. And I might have spoke too soon, John, thinking that the Huskies were going to be the first team to call their timeout, but they forced the Lords into doing that, as Coach Clark has seen enough after that little rally from the Huskies, and he calls the first timeout of the game.
Yeah, some misplays there by the Lords, some deflections, a little bit of bad ball luck, and yeah, you force your coach into taking his first timeout of the first set. I've seen a lot of things that could be cleaned up in that in that first part of the first set, Joey. Mostly defensively and positionally, you know, you just got to make sure that you don't drift too far away from your position, like Raymond did on that that corner shot.
Tough situation for the Lords, John. It's their third game in 4 nights. They played back-to-back in the nation's capital over the weekend. We mentioned that they lost to Algonquin in a hard-fought game. They lost 3-1. They did rebound, taking Lassite in a 3-0 sweep on the Sunday, and travel day, 1 day of school, and then right back here on Tuesday, taking on this Huskies team. And certainly a tough situation, travel over the weekend, and then it might be a tough game for them to get up for, John. You look at the schedule, you see a team 0-7. Sometimes it's tough to get those adrenaline juices going for a team that you look on paper and you figure you should beat them pretty handedly.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with you on that one. It's probably going to take them a little bit to get going in this one. And just as we say that, nice big spike there. I believe that was by Jessica Johansson.
It was.
And maybe that'll get some energy injected into this offense.
And that's going to wake up Julia Vitt as well. The fifth-year player for the Huskies took that ball off the noggin and out of bounds, and certainly would not want to be on the receiving end of a Jessica Johansson spike, John. She put some power on that, and that's got to hurt if you're Vitt. We're in the middle of a rally here as Vitt's blocked there, and that was Terwilliger and Nicholson-Clark teaming up for that. I believe it was Nicholson-Clark who's come in for Vanden Heuvel on this little switch here with the libero. And those two team up for an excellent looking block there, and the Lords back ahead 7-6. Nice tip over the net, Romaine to Bab. Bab to Terwilliger. Terwilliger gets that, but it is blocked by Vitt. Romaine again to Johansson. That hits off the fingers in front. The Huskies have to get this ball over here, and they do. Bab to Romaine to Johansson. Johansson almost gets that to fall, but a nice diving play there by Audrey Chow as we have a good rally going here, and that's just a little too hard by Nicholson-Clark, John, as she just didn't get over that ball enough, and that goes flying out of bounds.
Yeah, she got underneath it, and underneath it with her palm too. She kind of hit it with the bottom of her hand as opposed to the top. So that one just soared way out of bounds.
Yeah, tough play there. Lamtret serving for the Huskies. We're tied at 7. Johansson powers that through the hands of number 2, Christian Long, the captain of this George Brown's Huskies team. And Jessica Johansson, a force at the net, and as you mentioned, leads the team in kills. And I would not expect that to stop anytime soon. As the Huskies try and get this ball over, they do. Nice dig out by Terwilliger. Back to Terwilliger from Romaine. She gets it over. Not the best spot, but she finds a way to get it over. Vanden Heuvel to Romaine. Romaine to Raymond, and Sarah Raymond trying to get a backcourt spike there. Just can't get over it enough, and that's 2 in a row for the Lords. And
2 timeouts in a row, too.
Not at all happy with what he's seeing here in this first set, John, as he's called his second timeout, and it's only 8-8.
Yeah, I don't like the long serves here. They're trying to do too much with it. You know, if you continue to play service with them, rally the ball, go back and forth, and then you'll open up a hole, right? Just like the George Brown Huskies were doing to the Lords. You got to be able to open up the hole in their defense and then strike. They're trying to get the ball into too small of a spot for me.
Certainly tough here for the Lords. 26 seconds left in this timeout. And for the Huskies, got to be exactly the start you're looking for on the road. 0-7 on the year. I've only won 2 sets all season long. They come out and force the number 10 team in the province to call 2 timeouts within the first 16 points of the game. Certainly a way you want to be starting as a road team.
Yeah, both teams very young too, as they both have, I believe, 7 first-year players. Actually, I think the Lords have 8 first-year players. So both very young squads who probably need some time to gel as well. I was talking actually with Coach Clark last week, the last game we called, about how he needs to get a cohesive unit going. And he says it takes time, you know, especially when you got a new team and a lot of turnover.
That's the name of the game in collegiate athletics, is that's going to be Lord's ball. Looked like it might have hit off the hand of Romaine, but that's just the view from up here. The official at the net says no, and Jessica Johansson gonna serve. You're right, John. Especially with so many first-year players, and for the Lords, so many first-year players getting a lot of playing time. You look at the names: Sarah Raymond, Cassidy Nicholson Clark, Allison, or not Allison Terwilliger, but Athelia Bonchef, and Alexa Armstrong, all players who we've seen get, even Madison McBurney, lots of players we've seen get lots of playing time, important minutes, important points, and for first-year players, it's certainly tough trying to get used to this level of competition in the OCAA, as Romaine sets that for Nicholson Clark. And a nice dig out there by Vitt. As they get it back over the net, they're the Huskies, as that play is all set up off a very nice dig from Julia Vitt, and all of a sudden, Audrey Cho finishes the play.
To me, Vanden Heuvel just got caught watching a play there. That was her ball, and she forced, Terwilliger, I guess, that was Terwilliger, right, with the dive. She forced Terwilliger into trying to make a very unlikely play, a very low percentage play. And
as we have a time violation here, I believe, for the Huskies. That's the first time we've seen that all season long, John. Haven't seen that since elementary school, a time violation on a serve, but this home crowd not going to complain about that at all. Going to have to get clarification here between games.
Glad you knew what that was called, because I was like, what?
It was the only thing that made sense to me. She was hanging on to the ball a long time, and the officials, almost like a delay a game in hockey, calling it there, and Vitt sends that ball over, and it's certainly a unforced error for the Huskies. And on the road against the top 10 team in the province, you can't be making those mistakes. And just like that, the Lords make them pay another point and take a 3-point lead here with Nicholson Clark at the serve, who we've seen, John, can really get this ball over the net and put it in good spots. As that goes right through the hands of Vitt, as that was a misplay there by the 5th-year player, making me look good as Cassidy Nicholson Clark continues her excellent service game, and that was just too much to handle there for Vitt.
Yeah, bad positioning too by Vitt. I think she went there for the volley when clearly she should have been in there trying to bump that ball, and it went right through her hands. So
it's a hard spike there. Number 15, Julia Mirda. First time we're saying the Mississauga native's name all game long, excuse me, as she smoked that ball. It hit off the hands of Bab and out of bounds for the Huskies' points as they take their first time out here, John. And obviously whatever Coach Clark said was very good, as the Lords took a
5-point lead.
5-point lead. They went on a 6-1 run. That's the math I was trying to do. I got you, John. It's all right, buddy. That's broadcasting programs at Durham College do not require a math, as it's been nice and easy not doing math, but we're getting it figured out here. As when we do these games, the quick little calculations in our head, and just like that, the Lords, like you mentioned, a 5-point lead here, forcing the Huskies to take their first time out. They seem to be rolling here, feeling a little more confident as we reach the second half of this first set.
Yeah, it's going to be important coming into this timeout here for the Lords to continue their domination They were playing very well off of, I would assume, something maybe Coach Clark said or something they have seen in the George Brown Huskies. Maybe putting them in harder or tougher positions, not playing so soft, because the unforced errors have been killing George Brown so far.
We talked about the weekend, John. Althea Bonchef had herself a game on Sunday versus Laseet. 8 kills, her season high. On a way for the Lords taking a 3-set victory as that ball sends into the net as the men's volleyball team in attendance for their game has the noisemakers in their hand and they're getting fired up, supporting their fellow volleyball players. And the Lords up by 6 here, and Nicholson Clark continues to be on serve as that's a hard ball there. Thought about it, was the libero for the Huskies. Lingat thought about making a play on that ball, but she does not, and that's just a little too hard from Nicholson Clark and out of bounds.
Yeah, good move there by not touching the ball by Lingat. So you see it more times than not that the player will actually hit that ball, and it would be a bad call. So good job there, and just as I say that, George Brown gets another point there on a deflection.
Babb tried to get up to block that, and she got there at the net, but hard hit and well placed by the Huskies as they try and get themselves back into this first
Actually,
set.
that was a backcourt, I'm pretty sure. That was that backcourt call, backcourt block that Eric was telling us about.
That ball goes over. I thought it was Babb who hit it at the net, and it kind of deflected off her and in. Either way, it was Huskies' point. And,
yeah, no, it was definitely Babb, but in her position where she's at right now, she was in the backcourt the play before.
Oh, that's why we should listen to Eric Dixon, our resident volleyball expert.
Yes, he is a referee. I don't know for what level, not OCAA, that's for sure.
No. He's sitting there with a whistle for hours and hours. He said his tournament on Sunday went well, as Megan Romaine sends this ball over the net. And Eric Dixon continuing to kill it here. Not broadcasting student, a sports management student here at Durham College. Give him a job, he does a good job. As the Huskies make a misplay there, and the Lords get the ball back. Megan Romaine, the leader in assists for this team, with a whopping 117 on the year, makes herself involved in the offensive game as well on a nice serve there. And the Huskies call their second timeout, John, and all of a sudden they're back on their heels, and the Lords playing much better as they've really put the pressure on them as this set has continued.
Just as we gave praise to Lingat for being able to get out of the way, or just as I gave her praise for being able to get out of the way of that ball and not strike it, she did the exact opposite on that service, or that return there, Joey, as she puts her hands up and tries to volley it, and it deflects right off her fingers and out of bounds, when if she had just gotten away from it, it was going to go out anyway, and it would have been their point.
For the Huskies, John, this is their first game since Saturday when they played at Fleming, one of 2 games all season long where they won a set, losing 3-1 to the Fleming Knights. We haven't seen Fleming all year. I'm not quite sure what they are called.
I believe they're the Knights.
That's what I thought they were. Let's go Fleming Knights, and I apologize if I'm incorrect. We can do a Google, and we'll get that information for you, as there are no timeouts left here in this first set, John, as both coaches have used both their timeouts. Only 2 timeouts per set in OCAA volleyball, as that's going to be a Lord's point there, and a nice play at the net by Babb, just getting a hand on that and sending it down, and Romaine's going to stay on serve here for the Lords. Megan Romaine, number 15, took the coin toss for the Lords, so I have her written down as the captain for today's game. Gets that serve over, she bumps it up for Terwilliger. Terwilliger one-handed gets it over the net and sends Melissa Lignat on a bit of a run who can't control it. And just like that, the Lords up by 8, 5 away from taking a first set victory.
It is the Knights, by the way.
It is the Knights, beautiful. I love when I'm right. As Romaine sends that back over, that was hit once and
doesn't
twice.
happen very often, Joey.
Hey, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while, John, as Romaine sends that for Terwilliger. And Allison Terwilliger doing her best Jessica Johansson impression with a hard spike there, hammering it down into the Huskies zone. 21-12 the score.
Found that big hole in the Huskies defense there, Joey, and was able to strike. She had a big area to aim for, so there was no worry about sending it long.
Lamchette there for the Huskies. answers strong there. She finds a way to get that ball over hard and down. 21-13 the score as the Huskies trying to stifle this Lord's offensive attack. Ball sent over the net. Vandenheuvel digs it out for Romaine. Romaine, just a tip play there by Sarah Raymond. And the Huskies try and return. Very difficult play there by number 3, Audrey Cho. Bit of a backcourt spike from her feet. Finds the empty spot on the court. And the Lords, bit of a miscommunication. It looked like they're defensively, John, give up the point.
Yeah, picking on that back corner again, Joey. Seems to be the weak spot for the Lords, and maybe George Brown has keyed in on something there.
Certainly not the first time they've gone to it all game long. A nice double block there at the net on Allison Terwilliger. Raymond just gets it over, and a miss hit there from Julia Mirda. And the Lords, 22-14, they lead it here, and Raymond's gonna have the serve, and that's a dangerous player to be on serve for the Lords, as she's done an excellent job all season long, giving her team good serves and strings of serves, and she's gonna try and get 3 in a row here and close out this set.
You know, added to the unforced errors, Joey, the thing I think that's killing George Brown right now is the lack of being able to hold serve. They've gotten, you know, a decent amount of points here, but they've all been one and dones.
Yeah, for sure. Not a lot of runs for the Huskies. They had the one to tie it up at 8 early, but ever since Coach Clark took that timeout, his second timeout, John, the Lords have really been all over him here. As that ball, I believe that was Johansson who spiked it with emphasis, and that was just too much to handle for the Huskies. 2 points away from a first set win here are the Lords.
First time I've seen that one, Joey, hitting the basketball net on top.
Yeah, that's a lot of power generated by Jessica Johansson to send that ball off the ricochet and all the way up there. It's a nice double block by Terwilliger and Babb teaming up there, John. And just like that, the Lords are 1 point away here from a first set victory.
Set point here for the Lords. And you got Sarah Raymond serving. She's been pretty good on serve, hasn't she?
She's been excellent as Raymond sends this ball over, dug out there by the Huskies. They have to spike this. They get it over. Raymond with the dig for Romaine. Romaine to Terwilliger, and Allison Terwilliger closes out the first set in style, going cross court on that spike. And just like that, John, the Lords win 25-14 after a bit of a scary start. They seem to really find their game here as the set continued.
Yeah, it just took them a little bit to get going, like we were talking about. You know, you said it's a hard game to get up for. It's the last place team in the entire league, let alone the division. So you think, oh, it's going to be an easier contest. We can stomp all over these girls. We can start late even and be able to catch up. And they were able to catch up, but they now need to remain with this pressure. They can't let George Brown get back into this. This should be a 3-set sweep.
You would certainly think so for the Lords, John, and that would do not a long way for them in the standings, but it would definitely help keep them where they want to be, which is inside the top 10. Got to be a disappointing fall for them, falling to 9, and a win over an unranked team, not going to do much for moving yourself up. But when you're a top 10 school in the province, it's not so much as moving yourself up the standings, it's not letting yourself slide, and even losing a set to this team who has only won 2 all year could hurt them in the rankings. It could potentially fall them out of that top 10 spot. I wouldn't expect that to happen, and I fully expect the Lords to continue playing well and find a way to get a first set victory or a straight set victory here. But certainly something Coach Clark's got to be thinking about in the big picture as we play this game.
I have a bunch of comments about what's on the court right now, and none of them are appropriate for broadcast.
I guess we're playing Hit the Mascot, or the dummy in the middle of the...
Yeah, Scott brought this out, so I had some comments, but, you know.
We have a new mini game here. First time we've seen a mini game between sets of volleyball action here at the Campus Wellness and Recreation Center in beautiful North Oshawa.
Buster, the dummy from Mythbusters, has made an appearance. We have a celebrity appearance from Buster. Tell me you watched some Mythbusters. I mean, come on.
Oh, of course.
That was like the greatest show.
Even the White Rabbit Project on Netflix.
Yeah, I liked a few of those episodes.
It
got boring quick for me, but the mind control one was really cool.
You can never go wrong with Mythbusters on your TV. you find it on the Discovery Channel. Watch yourself an episode of Mythbusters. Those guys have a hell of a time. I watched one a couple weeks ago with the old man. They were trying to stunt park cars, and they were on a tarmac in California somewhere, just whipping around these limos and beating the crap out of them.
Man, wouldn't that be fun?
It's not a bad gig, that is for sure.
I heard that show ended because the two main guys did not get along at all. They actually hated each other. So that's interesting.
That's too bad. I don't want to hear that about Jamie and Jamie Hyman. I'm trying to remember the other guy's name.
I can't remember, to be honest with you.
We'll do a Google and figure that out for you, just because that's what everybody needs to know. Is
we've just lost all respect with all our listeners.
Jamie Hyman and
yeah, you said Jamie already.
Did I say Jamie?
Yeah, you did. You did say Jamie already.
I was really proud of myself for thinking of the name there. Adam Savage.
That's it, Adam Savage. Yeah. It's got a great name, too. How did we forget Adam Savage?
I don't know, man. Sometimes the mind just blanks. Too much good volleyball action. That's the problem here.
Yeah, as we're getting ready to start the second set here, Joey.
And we're going to see a switch at libero here into this second set, John, as number 13.
Devin Frazier's back.
Yeah, it's the regular libero for this Lord's team, stepping in and putting her off-color jersey back on. Vanden Heuvel will stay in the game. She's up in the front court now. And Coach Clark changing things up here, maybe giving Vanden Heuvel a little bit of a shot in that first set to get more playing time as we are underway here in the second. Remain for Bonchef, who checks in here in this second set. Dug out there by Johansson. Johansson to Bonchef. Bad misplay there by Bonchef, is unable to dig it out was Alexia Armstrong. As
too many went towards to get that to dig that ball out. You had three Lords there to dig that single ball out. That created confusion and chaos, and nothing good comes out of that.
Vanden Heuvel, Romaine, and Johansson, the only three starters in the first set who continue to start here for the Lords in the second set. Bonchef sends that ball over. The Huskies try and return it. Currently without a libero on the floor. Romaine to Vanden Heuvel, and Vanden Heuvel gets that off the hands of Witt and out of bounds, as that's going to be a 1-1 game here early in this second set. And Vanden Heuvel showing off her multifaceted skill set, John. The libero in the first set and gets a spike there in the second as she sends this ball over on serve, which is probably the thing she's best at that we've seen her play here at home, John. And that's not a bad person to be serving the ball for the Lords early in a set.
A little bit of a squeaky wheel on the Lord's side right now, and what I mean by that is they look like they're a little bit out of sync right now. So, that being said, they scored back-to-back points, but it just seemed like they didn't know which position they were going to be in and who should be chasing after what ball. Hopefully now they've gotten that out of the way and they can work together well. But I noticed the first few serves there were a little interesting.
New players on the court figuring each other out, new rotations, new 6 players for Coach Clark. We don't know how many times these ladies have played together as a unit. And as I talked about earlier, John, just the 3 games and 4 nights for the Lords. Lots of travel. Got to add school involved in that too, as many of these players probably had class today as they try and get their bearings under them, but it looks like they've recovered and look pretty good here as Vanden Heuvel sends that ball over that handcuffs Cho. And Audrey Cho, the 4th-year player for the Huskies, misplayed that bump. And the Lords jump out to a 4-1 lead here off the hand of Vanden Heuvel.
Yeah, you'd almost expect her to know a little bit better. 4th-year player. It's her at least her second unforced error of the night. Hopefully she can clean up her play for the George Brown Huskies. I mean, you never want to be having one player cost you the game. I don't think it's going to be one player for George Brown. As we see that nice serve, yeah.
Just got it in front of Frazier, who dove and extended for that, but that's Lamchette for the Huskies with a serve that looked like it just dropped. As soon as it got over the net, it found a way to dive right in front. As Vanden Heuvel has it to Romaine, Romaine to Bonchef, and Bonchef gets too much of that. And all of a sudden here we're tied at 4s again.
Yeah, she was just trying to get that into too tight of a spot. That's why you got to hammer it so hard, and you got to give it a little bit too much distance because you're trying to get it by so many hands, right? Something smells like burnt popcorn up here.
Always does.
Someone's burning the popcorn now, though.
So we got 3 people down there at the concession stand for the Lord inside the Campus Recreational Wellness Center, where you can come get yourself a Durham dog, some candy, a popcorn, and burnt popcorn apparently. I don't think you get a discount on that. Show up with a canned food item and get yourself a free drink through Christmas. As a nice play there by Vandenheuvel to Romaine. Romaine to Johansson, and the Lords.
Tip there off of the hands of the libero for the Huskies, Lingette.
That was a great play there by Vandenheuvel. Full extension to keep that play alive, and her teammates pick up the slack of a Warder with a very nice play there.
Lift called.
And a lift against the Huskies. You're right, John, as the Lords take a 3-point lead here. And Alexa Armstrong getting her first real service stretch in a couple games. As that's a misplay there by the Huskies. And all they can do is shake their heads as Audrey Cho and Melissa Lingnau are looking at each other. 2 players in the middle of the court, and that's exactly where the ball went. And they just couldn't find a way to return it and make a play with it. And Armstrong's getting ready to send it over again. Armstrong right back to Lingat. And that's going to go out of bounds again. And the Lords up by 5 now as Alexa Armstrong seems to be picking on Lingat. And not surprising there, the timeout called by the Huskies. Down by 5 here in this first set. And the Lords, John, after once again looking a little sloppy to start it, have found their way to find their groove. And they look to be playing very well here midway through this first set.
Yeah, they're getting their groove going now and forcing George Brown to take the first time out of the set. That's always good, seeing as Coach Clark had to take the first 2 timeouts of the very first set. So it'll be interesting to see if the Lords can continue their dominance here and get a quick set victory.
Looking at the OCAA women's volleyball standings, Loyalists and Algonquin tied for the top spot, both at 7-1 on this season, with an impressive 8.75 winning percentage. The Durham Lords right behind them, tied with the Georgian Huskies, or Georgian, I'm not quite sure what Georgian is. Will it tell me if I click on the button?
If you click on the button, it depends on the button you're talking about.
I hit the wrong button because it didn't tell me. So Georgian tied with Durham, 10 points apiece. The Lords have only played 7 games coming into this one. Georgian has 8, so they have an opportunity here to jump out ahead of Georgian with a 2-point lead and take sole possession of 3rd in the OCAA Women's East standings. Out west, it is the Humber Hawks who lead it with an impressive 7-0 record on the season. They are tied with Fanshawe, 14 points, but Fanshawe does have 1 loss as they played 8 games.
Sorry, it's the Grizzlies.
Grizzlies. I knew it was something like that. I almost said Huskies, but I knew that wasn't right.
No, seeing as they're playing the Huskies.
As we're looking at the Huskies right now,
they're both blue.
It's very similar. We've seen Georgian before, John, and can't believe I forgot their name, as that ball's out there. There's just a little too much on it for the Lords. As Frazier checks back in here for Armstrong. Lords up by 6. George Brown and Borel, the only teams in the OCAA without a point. So they're both over on the season. That ball sent in the net by Witt. Julia Witt has struggled here so far in this game. Maybe not what you expected from the 5th-year player for the Huskies, John, as she leads the team in kills and digs. In 7 games, it's just not been her game here tonight.
I was going to say, you lead an 0-7 team with a negative strike percentage on anything, and you really can't take anything out of that, Joey. So, you know, this whole team has been inconsistent, I believe.
Yeah, just a tough year here for the Huskies. They're trying to figure it out as they go. If they lose another point there, it's now 13-5.
This one is looking like it's going to go the way of Durham. So long as, like I said before, they can keep up the pressure here and force the Huskies into making split-second decisions. Because if you have to make split-second decisions, then you're not thinking it out, and when you don't think it out, sometimes you make the wrong choice, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That one hit off the line judge, so it was definitely out.
First time we've seen a line judge get hit all season, John. You don't see that a lot, but they'll certainly take it. This ball's sent over. Johansson with a spike, and she gets it right through the hands of Luong, right at the net. And Jessica Johansson continuing to be just too much to handle, and she's just so strong there in front of the net.
Yeah, I think that deflected off the hands of the George Brown Husky player, as this one is sent way long by the Huskies, by Lamchet.
And I think you made a good point in the first set, John, is just the Huskies haven't done a good job at maintaining serve, which we know is just so important in this game, to be able to hang on to serves, keep control, and keep racking up those points. Those 5-6 point runs are huge, and the Huskies have not found a way to do that, as the Lords do a good job there to get the ball over on a nice rally. Big block there at the net from Madison McBurney, excuse me, and McBurney teams up there with Marshall, as a couple substitutions here by Coach Clark caught me off guard, but the Lords up by 10 now, and McBurney and Marshall teaming up there for a very nice play. The first year and the fifth year coming together, and the Lords mixing a little bit of veteran with a little bit of rookie. And they've done such a good job here. As another missed play at the net by the Huskies behind the net, as Jessica Johansson seems to be able to do it all, John. She can do it at the net, and right there, an excellent serve, really handcuffing this Huskies defense.
Yeah, see if she goes after libero again.
We seem to see that a lot. Once you find something that works on serve, just keep going back to it. Points are just so important, and we've seen that in both men's and the women's games. They're not afraid to attack a weak link.
Yeah, definitely not. You got to go back to the well in volleyball until that well dries up, right? So if they're going to continue to give you points, then you take them any way you can get them.
McBurney block there at the net, as that wasn't not her best attempt, as the Huskies find a way to double block that. So McBurney didn't get all of that. She's going to want a little bit more next time she gets in front of the net.
Yeah, she tried to make a cheeky play there and just get it touched over the block of the Huskies, but they were wise to it, and she really should have put a lot more force into it. Probably would have gotten the point, but can't complain too much. Up 9 points here in the second set, up 1-0.
Terwilliger blocked again, but that time it doesn't land in. It goes out for the Huskies, and just like that, the Lords still up by 10. Now it is 18-8. They forced the Huskies into calling their second time out of the half. And John, I'm sure Coach Clark would like nothing more than to be able to go the rest of this set without being forced to call one of his timeouts.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, with a 10-point lead right now, that's a completely feasible option here. You got a hot team going, and they've got a lot of chemistry going right now. They've woken up from their slumber, and they want to answer back that big loss. And like we said at the start, you know, you got a small stepping stones, right? You got to step up off of the George Brown Huskies, the bottom team in the league, in order to get your position back. It's going to be a long climb back to number 5, but this is step number 1.
Just got to go one game at a time here, John. The Lords will play their next game on next Tuesday, or excuse me, they will play their next game on Thursday night when they take on the Colts, and Centennial will be here. Centennial is not ranked, so it should be a game for the Lords where they should win and find a couple wins in a week. They could easily find themselves by the end of this week at 7-2, which I would assume would definitely put them back in the top 7, at least, of the OCAA standings. As Sheridan currently sits 7th, the only team with an under 500 record in the top 10. They're at 3-4. I'm sure for the Lords and Coach Clark, they would probably think, and I would agree, that they deserve to be ahead of an under 500 team in the Ontario rankings.
Yeah, they definitely do, but coming away with the win here, like you said, and coming away with the win against Centennial is going to be key in order to regaining your footing in the top 10, and getting a little bit more respectability, I think, from the top 2 or 3 teams in that top 10. because Durham, you know, the way they play, they can play with just about anybody, right? They can win just about any game here. So it's just it's waking up, and starting the game on time, as Coach Mike Babcock likes to say.
And you, of course, wearing your Bab socks today for the Leafs game tonight at 9 o'clock. And if the men's team can make as quick work of the Huskies as the ladies here have done in this, as we're 6 points away from a second set victory, only 38 minutes into the match, maybe a little bit less. Tip-off was set for 6. We started a little bit later.
Exactly 38 minutes.
The Lords just continue.
Oh, I guess, yeah, 38 minutes if we started on time, but that never happens.
I don't believe we started on time, as nothing ever starts on time here at Durham. But
well, they didn't have to change the net.
That's true. There was no net changing, no nothing. Busy week here on Durham Lords TV. John and I will be here tomorrow night for basketball, and right back here on Thursday for another doubleheader.
And then back on Friday.
As we mentioned, the Holtz will be here for a volleyball doubleheader, and then Friday as well, as just like you mentioned, John. And we're going to be filling your airwaves all week long. Who needs to do homework? And we're here on the Durham Lords YouTube network. And another point there for the Lords is a double hit there by the Huskies, and they're really starting to implode here, John.
Yeah, they don't have 10 points yet in this set, and the Lords are 3 points away from the set victory. This one's pretty much a lock, so long as you can not make any horrible mistakes like the Huskies seem to be doing.
They're going to get
no, they get the call there on the tip, eh?
A little tip in front. They're going to say a Lords player got their hand on it. The entire Huskies team was turning and looking at the official, looking for the call. And very close. Couldn't see who the player was who might have got a fingertip on it, but the Huskies will take a break, but they can't take advantage as Murda sends that ball right into the net, almost off the back for own teammate's head. And the Lords now 2 points away from serving, and I don't think there's anybody they'd rather have than Nicole Vandenheuvel with the ball in her hand. She sends this first one over. So the Huskies have to get this here. Nice play there to dig it out. And Vandenheuvel sends it over, but softly as she jumped over, as there was a backcourt spike there, I believe.
Over the net.
I don't know what
she reached over the net, apparently.
Oh. So. That must not have been Vandenheuvel. That must have been a net violation by one of the players jumping up there at the net. Did not see
either that or a toss, like a throw.
Yeah, maybe. It's
we need to get better on this.
Yeah, we're figuring it. We'll get you there. I can tell you that was a point for the Lords for sure. They're 1 point away here, missing out this second set, and it's going to be Alexa Armstrong who gets to do the honors. As we've seen her serve already in this set. That's a high one there. A little miscommunication by the Huskies. Marshall to Johansson, and Jessica Johansson spikes it hard. And the Huskies just can do all they can to get this ball back over. Terwilliger with a good dive. Sent over by Armstrong.
Beautiful dig there by the Lords, man.
Huskies trying to return. A nice play there. Probably her best of the game is Julia Vitz. There's a big fist pump there from the Ajax, Ontario native. Still down by 12. The Huskies aren't quite out of this yet, as Vitt needs to go on a 13, 14-point service run here. Vitt sends this ball over. Johansson digs it out. Johansson gets the spike, and that's going to be too much to handle.
That's it.
For her to Lingat, and just like that, the Lords throw up a dominating second set performance here, John. 25-12, the final in this set.
Yeah, you know what I seen in that set was a lot of quit by the Huskies. They got a couple points going, and they got some energy there at the end. But they're a team that to me seemed like they were getting down on themselves, which just adds to the burden of trying to win a game, right? You've got to all leave you have a chance. I understand that's hard to do as an 0-7 club who has trouble winning any set. But you know, you can never be the one beating yourself. And I'm not talking about unforced errors. I'm just talking about beating yourself up mentally, right? And I noticed that a lot. They lose the point, a lot of size, a lot of down, a lot of woe is me sort of feeling that I'm getting from the game. So I apologize if I'm misreading, but that's what I'm getting.
No, I completely agree with you, John. The Huskies not showing a lot of pushback there in this set. And it's such a big contrast to how they started. And I think that really gave them a lot of confidence in that first set, being able to tie the game up at 8, forcing the Lords to take their early timeouts. But it was really a tale of 2 sets for the Huskies. They were not as strong at all in that second set. But Durham found a way to be even more impressive, 25-12 after 25-14 first set. And they're looking to make work of the Huskies. They could finish this match before 7 o'clock, which would certainly speed things up. I'm not quite sure what would happen here on Durham Lords TV. Would we wait till 8 o'clock, which is the scheduled tip-off time for the men's game taking on George Brown, or would we start a little bit early? I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Well, I can tell you that previous experience, the men's squad has requested an early start when this has happened before. So hopefully they'll do the same. But it has to be mutual with both sides, right? And I mean, I don't see why George Brown wouldn't want an early start anyway, because the earlier you start, the earlier you get out of here, and they got to drive back into Toronto, right? So.
We are 28 seconds away here from winning from the third set. With the Lords and the Huskies, our girl Danielle making us pose for pictures here.
Follow the Durham Lords Instagram account. I don't know what it is though.
Durham Lords Instagram is at Durham Lords, I believe.
That would be logical.
I feel like they got the naming rights, John. I can double check for you here.
Well, you know, someone else is smart. They could have gotten the naming rights and then sold it to Durham.
They could have, but they did not, as I am corrected. It's just Durham Lords. Check it out on Instagram. You can follow along with all your day updates, plays of the week, and everything going on in the world of Durham Lords athletics. Also check out the UOIT Ridgebacks, their Instagram page as well, to updates on all the exciting action from our campus neighbors, the UOIT Ridgebacks, as they won an exciting game on the weekend over Ryerson, a game you were lucky enough to be involved with, Johnny. And we are just moments away from the third set. Very well could be final set the way the Lords are playing. No disrespect to the Huskies, but this Lords team looking like they have something to prove after falling in the provincial rankings. They have really stepped up and had themselves a real good game here so far, as Frazier sets that for Raymond. Raymond, nice little touch play, sends the Huskies diving. And Sarah Raymond makes the first point of the set for the Lords.
A lot of talking on the court for the Lords, and that's good communication. You're not seeing that so much on the George Brown side. So how are you supposed to know who's going to go after what ball if you're not going to tell him?
Talk. That's what a lot from volleyball players is you got to know and you got to communicate. It's not just volleyball though, John. It's every sport, really. Every team sport, communication is just so key. And you're right, the Lords are doing such a good job communicating. And the Huskies getting a little quiet as they take their first point of this third set.
It's going to be interesting to see how quick the Lords can get on top of the Huskies here, and if they can get in a quick early lead, like a big lead here, because then you'll probably see more of that quick out of the Huskies. Being down 2 sets to nothing is difficult, and then if you get down a big deficit here in the third set, then you're not going to want to maybe try as hard. I would assume anyway.
Yeah, for sure, John. Sometimes it's just mentally tough to come back, especially when you're 0-7 on the year, down 2 sets to love. It's certainly a tough comeback, as Alice Williger makes a nice layup there to Williger, Bonchef, Frazier, Raymond, Johansson, the players, and Marshall, the players on the court for the Lords. In this third set, once again, John, we see a combination of starters and bench players. Coach Clark getting everybody involved here in this game. And it doesn't really seem to matter who's on the court for the Lords. They've all been playing very well. As a two-touch there by the Lords. Gives the Huskies the ball back. As it's going to be number 15, Julia Murda on serve.
Just an awkward look from the Huskies there on bump, and no one wanted to volley it, no one wanted to smash it, or it's just, that was so strange. You don't really see that.
The referee fixing something at the net there. Murda, not really expecting that. We get a laugh from the Huskies sideline. One few smiles we've seen from them since this game started. Frazier gets that ball out to Raymond to Terwilliger. Terwilliger tries to go cross court, but it's blocked out of bounds by Julia Vitt. And the Lords are going to take that ball, John, as Julia Vitt has been involved everywhere for the Huskies. Really, their most veteran and probably their best player from what we've seen. But she's not having herself the strongest night. That's certainly tough for the Huskies going up against a ranked team when your top players not playing at 100%. Makes it even more difficult to come back, as that was smoked there by Armstrong. The Lords try and return a tough rally. Raymond gets it, the ball. That's a beautiful touch there by Sarah Raymond. And the Lords up 6-2.
Yeah, it's interesting there. A lot of what we're seeing from the Lords is set plays, and you're getting the ball to the middle, and then you're going to send the ball over from the middle. You're not seeing that from the Huskies. You're seeing serves, not serves, but services returned or rally turned over with one touch and not setting up the play. And how can you know where the ball is going or predict where the ball is going to go when you're just getting it one touch?
Yeah, it's really interesting just looking at the stats, John. For the Lords, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players. All have double-digit spikes on the season. Led, as you mentioned, by Jessica Johansson in her 56. The Huskies have three players in double-digit spikes going into this game. Vitt, Zamanek, and Chow. And we haven't seen Zamanek all night long. Would have to imagine maybe banged up. We have not seen number 9 for the Huskies. I haven't seen her name.
She's definitely not been on the court.
So for the Huskies, it's tough to keep up with this very potent offensive attack. The Lords, as you mentioned, they want to funnel things into the middle and get net. When you have 8 players or more who, like the Lords do, are capable of taking those big spikes at the net, really gives you a potent offense, and it's certainly tough to catch up if you're this Huskies team.
Yeah, coach of the Huskies there just tried to call the ball out for the line judge, but the line judge ruled that one inbounds.
Helping out, as always, that is Daphne Choi, the head coach of Huskies team. And John, they have not got on this season, but may not be surprising. Last year they finished with a 4-14 record, losing both games Durham through straight sets.
It's a tough couple years to go through, man. 14 and 0-7 so far. Not looking any better this year than it was last. It may be worse. They're on the Cleveland Browns right now, man.
It's not a train you want to be on compared to Cleveland Browns, who have no idea what they're doing. But
they hired a baseball guy to run your football.
But if you're betting on football this weekend, do yourself a favor, bet against the Browns. I don't know who they're playing or what the spread is, but they're probably not going to cover. Myself, Johnny, I'm heading to Buffalo for the Pats-Bills game on Monday.
I'm so jealous.
It's only my second ever football game seen live in person. First Patriots game. I'm pretty excited about it. After Gronk, Brady, and the boy on a show, taking on the Dolphins on Sunday, makes it an even more exciting matchup for me. My life is coming down to getting on a bus early Sunday morning and enjoying a few cold beverages.
You going with a late sport?
I have no idea who I'm going with. I didn't book it. Birthday present for my sister. I'm just going to show up and enjoy.
And get drunk.
Hey, maybe I'm not drunk.
have a few pops, right?
A few pops low. Maybe I'll join Bill's Mafia.
I would say make sure you get some Bill's Mafia action in.
I don't know how it's gonna work out. We're rocking the Gronk jersey inside New Era Stadium, but we'll see how it goes.
If the Patriots do what I think they're gonna do, you guys will be the only ones.
Yeah.
You'll be the only one left in the stadium. So.
Hoping it's not too cold. Is that
Oh, it's going to be a chilly one.
Yeah, December in Buffalo. It's not the place you really want to be, but I will certainly take it.
Speaking of chilly, that Grey Cup.
I did watch the Grey Cup. Saw Shania have a great halftime show. It impressed me very much.
And
very come on Shania Twain lyrics for the day as the Argos coming up Grey Cup champions. John, that was just a little disappointing game for the Calgary Stampeders. You lose for two seasons in a row in the Grey Cup final in disappointing fashion. As we say goodbye to Dale, who was hanging out with us at the broadcast.
She got bored with us.
Yeah. We're not talking to her, so she's looking.
Yeah. That was a great Grey Cup. How more Canadian can you get than Shania at the halftime show coming in on a dog sled in the snow?
It was.
She could have been chugging syrup, but you know, that's about it.
It looked like she was a little worried about falling, though at halftime. She didn't look like she was moving much. The boys on Ride 1050 were talking about it yesterday. Stank performance for Shania, but I the O-Dog Jeff O'Neill stole the show.
Yeah.
And Shania, we still love you, Canada. Do not be afraid to come back soon.
It's a great game though for the Argos. Playing in that weather in the first half. You know, it lightened up in the second half. And key turnovers, couple key mistakes by the Stampeders. But there's a story, man. There's some big mistakes, and the ones who make the big mistakes, the other team make the big plays, right? So that's how the game turns. Back to volleyball though.
Back to volleyball. So we've got CFL, NFL. We've had a league update. Nicholson and Clark.
We're doing it all.
Yeah, we're multifaceted here on Durham Lords Network. John Lodge, Joey Chapman with you. We will be here for the second doubleheader. The Lords take on the Huskies in men's volleyball action. It could be before 8 o'clock, depending on how this game goes. Is Frazier to Raymond. Raymond just has to get that ball over. Huskies trying to Frazier takes it out again. Nice play there. And then Bonchef gets it over. Huskies must play that. And it's just a misplay there by Melissa like that.
I was just going to say, it's a better set so far for the Huskies, getting 7 points to Durham's 12. But another sloppy play there gives Durham the ball. And let's see if they can take advantage of the serve.
Marshall gets it over for the Lords. Huskies have this one over, and they do. Frazier digs it in. And Bonchef shoots some pokes. The post along the net out of bounds on the Lords.
Net violation.
But that was just a smacking of the ball by Bonchef. Put everything into that. And you're right, John, it hasn't had much better set here for the Huskies as they found a way to stop the Lords from going on a big run. But a misplay there is
interesting.
Continues to be a problem for the Huskies. That ball falls right in the middle of 4 players.
Five players, I believe. 5 players looking at the ball, and none of them wanting to dive because they're not knowing who's going to dive. You have to say me, or I got it. That way you know someone's going in. I understand, no conversation, no speaking there. Not one of them wanting to dive because you don't want to dash into somebody else's head or body. That's right there, key communication.
The Lords take advantage there. The best pass. Bernie finds a way to get the ball over, and the Lords come to the point there. Lords lead by 5, 4-9. And Huskies doing a good job at not embarrassing themselves here in this third set. Finding a way to stay in the game. Ball sent over dugout, and Raymond has it there. Raymond just tips it over. Seen that a bunch of times from her today. Hey, hits Williger to Bonchef.
3 rows deep.
Yeah, She wasn't going shack.
Yeah. I was thinking more Jeter or JD.
Yeah.
Let's go a little bit more. Let's say going all Josh Johnson. Dive in 2 rows, make a play.
Up two sets to love by 4 in this third set. Shouldn't say but even crushes that one, but certainly not worth it for Bonchev flying bleachers. Taking hands here at the Campus Wellness Recreation Center.
Yeah, I think initial reaction here would be to try and catch her, so I don't know if she'd be able to make the play anyway.
As it's going to be McBurney sending this ball over. First year flawless player.
Poor communication issues there. The libero set up underneath to make a bump, and I believe it was number 3, Audrey Chow, coming in and taking over position and bumping it ahead of her. Just communicate with each other. That's the key to being a team. And you're not going to speak to each other, then you're going to end up hurting each other.
As we've seen the Huskies really struggle with that aspect. We've talked about it a couple of times. Frazier misplaced there. That ball went out of bounds, and that cost the Lords a point. Back, and it in bounds. Frazier shaking her head after that for John.
I wanted to
mention Matt Burney quickly. We've seen a lot of her in the 6'2". Whippy native in her first year with Lords has been very good. I think a couple more years of experience in the OCLA. She's gonna get her feet under. She's gonna be a little confident with her. And at 6'2", she's gonna put on more strength and size. She could be a force for this team for years to come. And I really think Coach Clark has got this game, especially against a team like the Huskies that are down.
2 6'2" women on this team. Both years, both from Whippy, McBurney, and Armstrong. Both I think will be a big for the team. Forward, depending on how many years they stay with, or how many years when they do end up staying with the Lords. So a lot of size, a lot of youth.
Coach Clark from Whippy recruiting off-season. As you mentioned, Alexa Strong. All first-year players for Whippy, all doing fine job being as first years. Whippy and Ontario native come together for this team, and they're up by 5 here, 7-12 to score. That ball goes to Lords beat up 18-12 here. As the Huskies going to call their timeout as Coach Joy for the Huskies has seen enough. She calls her second out here of set.
Up 6 points now. It's almost comfortable enough for you to call set, Joey.
We never want to be disrespectful here on Durham work. Certainly.
It wouldn't be it wouldn't be slim to go out on it that way. A run is from any team. These are all athletes. Has a little bit of practice going on the sidelines for the Huskies, and more mitigation there as one of our arrow where the Huskies got hit in the back by a serve. Bench play. Just a thing there, a bit of a laugh. A little bit of coming out of this one.
When you're 0-0, you gotta find a way to laugh. Coming up after this game. The Lords and the Huskies volleyball will battle it out. John, that looks to be much more competitive match as the Husky male team is ranked 5th in the country, up from 6-1 on all season. The home Durham Lords 4-2 on the year, ranked 10th.
This could be a big matchup for us to move up in the standings.
As they finally crack their way inside the top 10. Certainly a tough match. 5-ranked Huskies.
Heads up to Eric as he gets back with that one on the ricochet.
Eric and RJ here. Get involved in action.
Another Eric Jansen is huge. It's going to have to be huge for the Durham and in the men's matchup in order for them to be out on top of this. It's not too difficult for him, being as 6'4".
6'4". His named the OCAA athlete of this week. And we will see lots of Eric Jensen as the game as that game continues. right here on Durham Lords Network.
So apparently we were quiet. Our boss has gone to turn this up. Either that or they so much need more volume.
Scott's got to get the ball over here, and they dug out by Terwilliger. This is set for Raymond. Raymond powers on the far side. Sarah Raymond showing some power there. Conversation on with the official and Aaron Marshall. Checking. That is Kristen Long, the captain for this Brown Huskies team. Lords 6 points away here from a straight victory. Sarah Raymond waiting here as the officials going to have conversations.
A little bit of a delay here.
Yeah, haven't seen for.
Everyone's got to feel like they're running.
As OCW volleyball, John, we haven't seen officials come together yet. Little miscommunication there, but things sorted out with Al Williger talking to the officials. We've had a lull in play. We talked about Eric Jensen, John. You brought him up. Named to the AA athlete of the week. 5.5 points per set. He had 26 points last week. An impressive 23 kills.
Yeah, that's great. You know, you hear that he's named athlete for Durham College, and well and good, but that's campus, right? But to be named the OAA athlete of the week, just fantastic. Eric huge for this team, and show getting some recognition league wide.
As he is called by volleyball. Coming up here shortly on the Durham Lords Network. Still trying to figure out what is going. Everybody seems confused. Lots happening down the court. We are up in the Kate Media Gondola.
Give us a follow, Kate.
John Lodge, Joey Chapman with you. Certainly shout out for Ness. Anyone on the network and reminisce days as the voice of the Lord. We'd love to have you. Talk a little Sports Center.
We still got more comments on here at the scores table. I would love to know what's happening.
As nobody's figured it out here. That's lots of conversation going on and on.
Coach Tony Clark seems to think about it.
And that I guess the miscommunication is going to end up being ball. I guess we're gonna have a bit of a rain on sports clock. 18 14. We didn't have it for the Huskies. Take it over the Lord. 13 the score here. Huskies. Another one there. A misplay. Jonathan Babb. Ball under the net. Get all bump at all.
That's interesting. What happened there? They point away from the Lord. I thought the Lords had their so did they. But maybe Coach Clark was laughing about he didn't call.
I definitely doubt he did. Like to take her away from them, but it's a little easier to handle. When they were up by big point, 2 sets up here, 8:15 to score. Huskies still on. They're trying to their way back into this. Maybe win a set. Frazier is away agreement to Bonjeff has to bump, and she does. He's trying to return the favor. That ball's hit. Pass Frazier. Another first player for this team who's been so good all season. And we've seen her hit a couple of balls that look like they were going out of bounds. Frazier holds off on that one for her. It hits the back line. George trying to respond. Raymond, little slap down. Dive there by the Huskies trying to get it over. Hugh.
As the Huskies are a little bit push here to the Lords. Only two down in this set.
Not going away quietly. Rare there by Terwilliger. Looked like she got that one out of her hand and right into the bat and net. Excuse me. And just like that, it's a 17 game. These Huskies walk over here in this third set, which is good to see a bit of a pushback from this club.
the broadcast there, I guess I said something. Now the Huskies are putting together a little bit of a run.
Huskies trying to tie this game up at 8. So that ball just too far. As they go to bounce on the touchline there. Sarah Raymond, the outside hitter for this team. All on serve. 6 points away from victory. It sends this ball up by the they transcended. They do go to bound. Number 3, Audrey. It's a little too much. I can't find the court towards the side of the net. And it's 7-17. Sends another one right back at Cho. Again, that deflected out the net. Bonchef on cheeky little there. Fake for the tap. Got it over the Husk turn. Here's Bonchef again. This time she goes hard. And it's off Melissa Lingnat. And the Husk back over. Dive there. Frazier. Play by Marshall just to send over. Marshall with the Bonchef who hits it hard. Huskies hit this ball over. They do a good going on here. Here's cut over. He's the answer. Go. The Bab. Bonchef has to get it over and lightly. He's got an opportunity here. They spiked it hard, but it was there. Bonchef looking to answer. Too much hand.
Both was playing excellent during that rally. The best volleyball scene all night.
Althea Jeff stop on her full attempt finish. She does. And now the list folds away. That is probably the best we've had all night. And communication here. So we've seen all along from us is the barrel and long. Don't commute on that play. Raymond inching closer, curving match 22 to 7 here the score. Raymond, nice serve there. Died across the net. Had to dive. Frazier.
Three touches there. Great set of digs there by the Lords, but unable to get up high enough over the net.
Yeah, Frazier trying there, but both players were around. Certainly just very difficult to get the power you need to get the ball in net. When you fall and can't get it. As the Huskies and to answer here, can't. That's Blondin. Jessica Blondin who hits that serve and like that. 2 points away to win the match. It'll be Jonica Bab serve. Another first player playing for her hometown school. She wasn't ready for the serve. There was a substitution by the Huskies. Perhaps as bad as she hit too soon. There were 7 Huskies on the court.
7 men on the field. 12th man on the field rule. It's a penalty on the Huskies. Come on, that's football though.
You can't get a 15-yard flag in volleyball. That doesn't go over the net. They found it there. It was Jet and Alden John. Just like that, it's going to be a serve match. Has to get her hand. Bab stabs it over. She gets it. Huskies have to return here and there. Do Bab with a nice bump there. Out. Williger has to get it over. He does. Good rally. Bab. Raymond gets it. Bonchef has to get it. Bonchef does a good there. And that's going to fall in another communication by the Huskies. And there's your final 25-15 in this set. The Lord come away with a 25-18 here. And a 3-3 sweep over the winless. That's winning was what I want. Winless. George Huskies.
I always undefeated. For some reason I say screw up when someone has no wins. Oh, that sounded really dumb.
The Lords have now won 2 in a row. They make their way back up the OCW rankings. That's going to be it for the first of our doubleheader. Go anywhere on the Durham Lords. Don and myself will be back for the first the Huskies men's volleyball action. 40 minutes time, I would imagine. But stay right here on Lords Network. At it. We're John Hodge and Chapman. We'll be back soon.